What's up YouTube, it's Ryan from AnnihilatorMTG here, and today we're going to be mixing things up a bit. Earlier this week I made a post asking my subscribers about any questions they may have for me so we can do an impromptu Q&A. And because you're all so amazing, we got a ton of really good questions. While I answer as many as I can, there will be some random MTGO footage in the background, so by all means, sit back, relax, and enjoy. Let's do this. Where are you from? I'm from the East Coast of the United States, but due to my family being kind of all over the place, I travel a lot whenever possible. What made you start YouTube? This is a good question. On numerous occasions, my best friend and I tried to make paper Magic the Gathering videos, something similar to the tournament coverage that you'd see from Star City Games or Channel Fireball. Unfortunately, our schedules didn't line up enough, and I just transitioned to Magic Online as that was something I could do solo. When did you start playing Magic? There are two answers to this. I opened my first Magic Booster pack in probably like 2nd or 3rd grade, but most of my friends played Yu-Gi-Oh, so I stuck with that. My return to Magic was around 2011 to 2012. A friend of mine had to bring me up to speed since I had forgotten how to play by that point, and we just played all night. It was amazing. I think I was running this Green Devotion deck. I can't remember too much about it, but it was an absolute blast. What's your favorite card? Without a doubt, it's Time Spiral. High Tide is probably my favorite Legacy deck. I remember first seeing the deck played in SCG coverage and was just floored at the unique playstyle. If that was the only deck I could play for the rest of my life, I would do so in a heartbeat. Do you play paper Magic? I've got Magic cards all over the place. Being able to play Magic in person just has this special quality to it. From casual EDH games to grinding out a GP, my best Magic-related memories are sitting at the table, and it makes me ridiculously sad that I haven't been able to do it as much in the last 2 years. Are you a professional Magic player who enters tournaments regularly? The pro Magic dream is sort of dead to me. I have fond memories of entering GPs, Opens, Classics, etc., but due to how the world is now and my dwindling free time, I don't think I'll be able to go back. My best finish was probably around top 100 at an SCG event. I forgot what the exact number was, but it should be around there. What's your thought process when playing a control deck? For me, a huge priority is not biting on low impact spells and making sure that I hit my land drops. After that, a lot of it has to do with instinct. With that said, I'm a firm believer in getting your reps in. The last time I played Control leading up to a major tournament, I was logging my matchups and trying to learn as much as I could. What's the best deck in the modern meta right now? It's hard to argue with Blue-Red Murktide, but honestly, I think any top 8 capable deck can take a person far. What really matters to me is comfort and experience. Do you think Modern Horizons is helping or hurting Modern? I don't want to repeat myself too much from my previous video, so for those of you who haven't seen it, check it out, but I think overall it's a negative. At the very least, if they were going to go with a direct to Modern idea, they should have done so a lot more carefully than they did. Do you have a pet deck in Modern? Grixis Control was always super interesting to me. I look back at the earlier days of the format and fondly remember Grixis Delver and Grixis Control being equal parts intimidating to learn, but incredibly fun to pilot. Corey Burkhart was always a huge inspiration with this archetype. How bad do you think Modern is as a format? If we're comparing it to historically great moments in the format's life cycle, then it's not that great. But then again, I try not to complain too much. Would you play Tier 2 or other non-meta decks on the channel? I'm definitely not against it, so if you have anything specific in mind, by all means feel free to leave a comment requesting it. The one thing I will say is if it happens to be a deck that I'm super inexperienced with, it might take a while to be featured on the channel. Not for the wins or losses, but the commentary side of things. Why don't you use Mana Traders? I don't really have an answer for this one. From what I've heard, both Mana Traders and Card Hoarder have great rental services, so I guess I'll have to look into it. With the release of Modern Horizons 2, do you think there's room for unbans in Modern? Maybe. Although truth be told, I don't envy those at Wizards of the Coast that have to decide this. I think whatever they choose, someone isn't going to be happy. Do you have a larger goal for the channel? Oh boy, what a question. To be honest with you, this is something that I've spent a lot of time thinking about. I want to be successful, obviously, and that can manifest through numbers and other channel stats, but more than anything else, if I can garner the respect of the community by making something they love, that's good enough for me. Are you a cat or a dog person? I've had 2 cats and 2 dogs during my lifetime, and they were all lovely. If I had to choose between cats or dogs, I'd probably go with cats. I love how mischievous they can be while also just wanting to chill in a box. What do you think about Wizards printing these quote-unquote funny decks to Modern like squirrels? Do you think we really need this? If we're operating under the assumption that sets need fluff for draft drafting purposes, then I don't really mind. At the end of the day, it's just another card type in the massive pool that encompasses the format. Squirrels are cool though. If you play video games, what's your favorite genre/game? I'm a sucker for RPGs, and Final Fantasy VI is a masterpiece. Like, it's so perfect that it's almost shocking. If you want something a little more recent, Persona 5 Royal was just incredible. Is there a deck that you absolutely hate to play? I'm not huge on Death and Taxes, but that's probably because I'm really bad at playing it. I also have a love-hate relationship with White Red Prison. I've tried to make it work more times than I can count, and it almost never has, at least for me. Why choose Modern over another format? At one point in time, I believe that Modern was the premier competitive format for Magic. Since I'm no longer entering paper tournaments, I'm much more open to other formats, but Modern was my home for a long time, so I tend to stick to it. Also, in terms of YouTube content, I don't want to disappoint my subscribers, so I usually just go with what they expect. If you'd like me to branch out into something else, just let me know. When will Stone Rain be Modern playable again? With Pillage in the format, I can only see Stone Rain being used as land destruction number 5 through 8, and even then, it competes with Blood Moon as a 3-drop. What do you think the man in Spider-Man means? Male or human? It could go either way, but I see a lot of superhero names as symbols more than anything else, so Spider-Man would be a humanoid, spider-themed hero. What are your thoughts on other formats? It makes me incredibly sad that Legacy is basically dead. Commander is super fun, and I love to play it with friends and family whenever I get the chance. I tried Pioneer for a bit and thought it was kind of boring. Standard just isn't for me, and I love to draft so long as it's a good cube. What's on your desk right now? Headphones, monitors, keyboard, mouse, a mic stand, a PlayStation Vita, a lot of cables, and some water. Which is worse, Chalice of the Void or Blood Moon, and why? If we're talking about which card feels more oppressive to play against, I'm inclined to say Chalice of the Void. You can always add more basic lands to your mana pool, and with fetches, finding said basics should be relatively easy. But Chalice of the Void punishes a low mana curve. Especially with the advent of Lurrus, Chalice just seems so much more powerful. Although I will say, if your local meta is just 4 to 5 color decks and nothing else, Blood Moon is beyond excellent. What would your ideal Modern ban list look like? Answering this from an objective point of view would be really difficult, so I'll just touch on some cards that I have strong opinions on. In terms of unbans, I at the very least want Preordain back if we can't have both it and Ponder. Birthing Pod seems somewhat reasonable to bring back, and maybe Twin. For bans, honestly, I'm just kind of sick of Lurrus. It adds so much consistency to the deck building process that it just kind of bores me at this point. There are others worth mentioning, but for the sake of time, I'll leave it at that. What do you do for a living? I'm a professional photographer and I do some video work as well. It started off as a hobby, but since I was committing so much time to it, I figured why not just make it my career? Is it fine to play Tron in Modern Open Play? Only if you enjoy collecting tiers. Do you think that Mono Red Burn can be viable, especially with Flame Rift? The main issue with this idea is Horizon lands. At least by my understanding, they're incredibly helpful in Boros Burn. And if you're going to run Horizon lands, the opportunity cost of going with Boros is non-existent. I think we'd need Price of Progress or some equivalent in order for Mono Red Burn to be better than Boros. This obviously doesn't include Obosh strategies, just Burn itself. Would you try the new red-green Titan Shift build that runs Wish? Gotta be honest, never expected someone to ask me to play Valakut, but sure, I can totally do that. My best friend who I used to playtest with was an avid Titan Shift fan. Stuck on a desert island with one book, one movie, and one album. What are they? This one is spicy. For the movie, let's go Inception. It's a great film that rewards multiple viewings. I'm not a huge reader, but I do like the Harry Potter audiobooks, so let's go with Prisoner of Azkaban. Now, the album is tough. I'll do one new and one old. For an older album, it probably has to be Led Zeppelin 4, and for something new, let's go with Mothership by Dance Gavin Dance. Bit of a genre difference, I know, but they're both great. And there you have it. Pretty solid Q&A. You all did amazing with the questions. I'm really happy that I can count on this community to be so awesome. Before you click away onto the next video, let's talk about some plans for the new year. I'm not entirely confident in my availability next week. There are more than a few family-related things going on, so I might have to push the video back a week. With that said, once we get into the swing of things in January, I have tons of plans for new content moving forward. The reception from the video essay that I did was fantastic, so I definitely want to continue to branch out and make new types of videos that you all can enjoy. With that said, I'm more than aware that the scheduling for this channel has not been fantastic pretty much since the end of October. I won't get into too much detail, but a lot of things have happened in my personal life, and each time that I came back to the channel and saw the incredible amount of support from everyone, it just made me so unbelievably happy. With that in mind, once things stabilize in January, it's full speed ahead. So until then, feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell icon. This stuff really does help, so thank you. For those of you who celebrate, Merry Christmas, and for those who do not, stay safe out there and have a good one.